I'm Cordy, and yesterday my friend Jake went to see Andy Timmons at that pedal show. Now Andy Timmons, I don't know if you thought that introduction sounded much like Andy Timmons' tone or not, but that's what I ended up finding on this journey to try and find this tone within the HX Stomp. It's based on some photographs that Jake took of his gear and then some kind of thoughts, because there's some pedals which aren't in there. Now obviously Andy Timmons is like a holy grail kind of player and holy grail kind of tone. I think he's one of these rare cases of a person who's got actually better tone throughout his career. Someone like Eric Johnson, Robin Ford, for me I kind of prefer their earlier tones, whereas you know when they play live these days it's not necessarily my favourite tones of theirs. Andy Timmons I think has actually got better tone with age. It seems to me that he's figured out this lead tone thing being smoother, and also he started playing strats a bit more and this sort of thing. So here's the settings on the HX Stomp. You don't have to buy anything or do anything. I'll show you all the settings. I'm using stock cabs. Feel free to like and subscribe. Feel free to leave your tips in the comments below for other people that are trying to get this kind of Andy Timmons-ish tone. I really enjoyed the tone that it ended up being anyway, even if it's not necessarily what you think of as Andy Timmons' tone. I think it's still pretty good tone in my opinion. I'm going to play this a load more, I think. But yeah, it will be in my bundle. If you leave a comment telling me to drop it into the folder, I'll be happy to do so. And maybe I can try and build this for Podgo as well. Leave a comment if you want me to do that. If you have another modeler, then this kind of thing will probably work in there. As long as you've got a Mesa Boogie Lone Star in there, then in theory you should be able to cop this tone, I'd imagine. And Memory Man, that's kind of the key to this kind of thing. Cheers. Okay, so it's been a fairly long time since I looked into this a little bit, and my friend Jake saw Andy Timmons last night at that pedal show, and he may or may not have taken some pictures for me which may help with this video. So I think he's no longer using the Lone Star Dirty channel, so this makes this a little bit easier, I think. So his settings for the actual amp itself look to be something like drive, around kind of 5.5. The next knob in is treble, I think, which is over here. Treble around 4.8. The next knob in from that is mids, and those seem to be at 5. And then he runs his bass surprisingly low at about sort of 1.5-ish, I think, or maybe sort of 2, around here. And then presence halfway. We'll keep channel volume around 5. The master, though, looks to be about 5-ish, yeah. Now, another thing to bear in mind is he uses, apparently, EL34s in his Lone Star. So the Lone Star model on the Helix presumably will have been done with 6L6s, so that's something to bear in mind. We're only going to be able to get kind of ballpark, I guess. Now, amp-wise, he uses V30s in a rectifier cab, is one of the things that he said. I'm going to use V30s in a Cali in this kind of way. So we're going to bring things right up close and turn up some reflections and stuff, because we're used to hearing Andy Timmons playing in fairly large rooms, aren't we? Now, so that might be the start of the clean tones. The other thing that he's doing, he says in a rig rundown video, is uses a compressor, and I quite like this compressor for this kind of thing, to boost the front of the amp. So what we get from that to start with, that actually is working quite nicely. The thing that I find with this sort of thing is that you may not really get super close to the tone. You might get yourself in the ballpark, but along the way you might have a happy accident where you create a good tone anyway. So that's what I'm kind of aiming for, really. And I'd say that already is quite pleasing to my ears anyway. So as I dial more bass, you get a bit more chunky stuff, but if we keep that nice and low, it's just a warm Fendery kind of tone. Now, this halo effect thing, let's try and see what we could do about this. So we're going to need something stereo. I'm going to try. I do sort of wonder if this heliosphere might be a thing. So what we're going to try and do, one of them needs to be 500 milliseconds, right? And the other one needs to be 375. I'm going to turn the headroom up. And what if I put this onto path B? Now, I also need a tap before that. Andy doesn't actually use stereo, does he, live? So we could maybe do this in, let's just see where we get. So I'm going to use 375, but I kind of want to use the Memory Man to start with. 375, if we put that here, then we could use that one mono. Too much mix wise. Oh, actually, we got the scale on here as well, so this may not be necessary. Let me try and take that out a sec. I think the reverb decay can come down, but we're kind of using the reverb to do that thing of diffused. Now the alternative way that I might do this would be to get rid of this altogether and instead do two Memory Man kind of things. So we'd have 375 and then, where are you? Delay, mono, in this kind of way. 375 and 500. This could be a thing. Take the depth down, and the mix down. But I don't want too much of this depth, too much chorus, not a great thing. And also take these headrooms up fully, otherwise you'll get a bit of grit on the Now, other things that I think we need, probably some sort of drive. I'm going to save this as an alternative. A Keeley modded blues driver we don't have access to here. So there's a limit to how close we can get to these things, and maybe I don't know what might get us closer. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Maybe a Timmy or something like that. I think that works quite well. And then there's the other thing, the JHS. So reading up on stuff, it seems like the tube driver might be a good shout for even more lead. So that would be the valve driver here. And the way that Eric Johnson, who I think may have partly inspired Andy's use of this, would run things would be with the bass and treble off. Maybe if we put that the other side of the Timmy, and the really nice thing about this stuff is that it's cleaning up quite nicely with my volume. So, I mean, that's an idea for some tones. If I have the valve driver on here and Timmy on here, that's just a starting point. And you can maybe experiment with taking that heliosphere. Where is that? It's gone. Using that heliosphere if you wanted more diffused delays, but it's going to take up a bit more space. So if I just clear that block and clear that block here, and what I would do with the heliosphere, I think, stereo, heliosphere, where are you? Nah, see, it's going to be using too much So I think the way to go would be 2 memory mans still, because they do have that kind of tape-ish repeat. So let me know if you want me to drop this into the folder. I'm having a bit of fun with it. It's not necessarily the closest thing in the world, but I think using those as starting points might get you at least some very usable tones, I'd hope. So I'm playing with a Strat at the moment. I know Andy occasionally does use a Strat. I might look into a little bit further his pedal board, but to be honest, we don't have a blues driver in here. We don't have the signature Timmons pedals, but I think something like a tube driver and a Timmy can get us vaguely in that ballpark. Let me know if you've got other tricks that get you closer. Again, we don't have something that does explicitly diffused delays in the way that the Halo pedal now does, but using 2 elephant mans like this can kind of get us, I think, in that ballpark. And if we got a space for any other effects, a little bit, not reverb, not much, this is using a fair chunk of our processing power. Let me know if you want me to drop this into the folder. And yeah, I thought that's a really nice. Starting point for some of this stuff, and chuck on that Timmy and you get. But yeah, I think that might be a new favourite preset. I don't know. Let me know if you get on with it okay. Let me know if you want me to drop it into the folder. I'll catch you in another video soon. Andy Timmons, everyone. Cheers.